This is Seventh Generation Warfare, and I am your current host, John Nelson. In this episode, we'll be looking at the unique privilege we have as parents. In previous episodes, I have used this term, the unique privilege. It is a privilege, and it's not to be abused. But in this episode, I am looking to define what I mean by unique privilege as parents. So, children come into this world pretty much completely helpless, and their entire survival is based on having a primary caregiver. They will go to extreme lengths to please that primary caregiver in order to secure their survival. This is why people born raised in traumatic environments will carry that trauma. It'll be imprinted on their psychology, and they'll bring that dysfunction into adulthood. But as seventh generation warfighters, hopefully we're not damaging our children in such ways. Hopefully we are imprinting good, positive values onto them. So before we get into this video, if you have a hard time controlling your kids or feeling like your kids listen to you, or if your kids seem to do what they want, if you're struggling as parenting, this is not the video for you. I suggest maybe going back and watching some of my sixth generation warfare content in order to learn more about how to assert yourself and your will, because you are the caregiver, you are the provider, and they are the dependent. The relationship should take a certain form, and if you're struggling with that, this is not the place to start. So, how do you get and maintain your unique privilege? Well, you get it just by nature of having children. You can quickly give it up if you say, give up your children for adoption. You can give it up by being an neglectful parent, not being very tied into what the kid needs or wants, or focusing very much on the kid at all. You can give it up by sending your kid to be raised by other people, be it a nanny, or be it often public school, or even by their peers. There are many ways that you can sabotage your unique privilege as a parent, and most of them, it's really all entirely your doing. If you want to maintain the unique privilege, all you have to do is set that as a high, something you seek in your life, and there should be no problem maintaining it. Furthermore, if you value it enough, this unique privilege should last an entire lifetime. There's no reason why a grandparent age person can't still be a primary influence in their grown children's life. And we'll get into that. So how do you do it? I think first and foremost is peaceful parenting. Do not traumatize your children. Do not hit them. Do not lie to your children. Do not yell at them. Be calm, collected, and rational with your children. And set expectations and rules in your house that are clear and easy to follow for whatever age kid, Boundaries and rules should be consistent and universal and applied to all people in the home evenly. The point is to build a place of order and not chaos within one's home. Secondly, be a source of value for your children. You obviously need to provide their material needs, such as shelter, food, and water, but it should go far beyond this. You need to give them things to nourish their character and spirit, such as opportunity to explore, play, and learn. If they if they are free to explore and learn, and you are looking out for the dangers and keeping them safe while they do it, then they will be fulfilled with a sense of purpose and joy. Be a wise leader and influencer to your children. Be somebody that they want to emulate. Provide them insights for the struggles in their life. In order to do this, you have to be in touch with who they are. So stay connected with your children. Spend a lot of time with your children. You are going to lose your special privilege over your children if you find them burdensome or you try to ignore it or avoid them. You have to spend time with them even when it seems difficult, even when they're throwing a fit. You have to spend time with them. Do not lose touch of their interests, struggles, and hobbies. The world is ever changing. Your children are ever changing. You got to stay in touch with who they are at any given moment so that you can help them through whatever it is they need help with. And as I already mentioned before, do not send them out to be raised by others. I mentioned before, don't send them out to get raised by public school teachers. And one of the biggest objections to homeschooling is that children need to be socialized. And that school is somehow a way to do this. I've said in previous videos, I see public school as basically a prison environment. But beyond that, one of the biggest reason people say is this socialization. They need to get socialized. They need to have friends. It is important for children to have social skills. It is not necessarily important for them to have friends. What are the purpose of friends? Friends are there for support, companionship, and a sense of belonging. All of those are things that the parents could be doing if they really wanted to. And I think perhaps it is common for parents who say their children need friends are actually just looking to avoid the responsibility of providing those things to the children themselves. And going one step further, and this is, cheap psychologizing here, it's possible that the people saying those things, that demanding this cult of friendship, might be promoting it based on the fact that their parents didn't nurture them properly growing up. That their parents shunned their responsibility to give them the support, companionship, and belonging, and they lost that unique privilege. Their parents gave up the unique privilege over them when they were young, and so they turned to friends in order to fill that void in their life. And now, rather than dealing with the fact that their parents didn't do a very good job, it's much easier just to say that kids need lots of friends, or having a big social network is important. I'd like to say that I am not saying that children shouldn't be afforded opportunities to have friends. Certainly do not isolate your children from their peers. You should give them regular opportunities to socialize and make friends, and growing and learning from peers can be much more valuable than growing from an adult who is 20 or 30 years removed from whatever the child is trying to learn. But if they're not interested, let me rephrase. If your child has social skills but is not interested in making friends, then there's nothing wrong. Perhaps the peers are not valuable to them, or perhaps you are giving your child everything that they need, and so perhaps you can just take the compliment and recycle it back into your bond with your child. If your child doesn't have the social skills, then you should be continuously working to develop those social skills. And the best way to really do it is to model social skills to them. So it probably starts with you again. But the point is that friends are not needed. Social skills are needed. You can be your child's friend, and ultimately, if you are giving them everything they need, they're not going to run away from home metaphorically. They're going to stay very close. They're going to stay under your wing, as the saying goes with birds. If you see the baby birds following mama bird around, that is the natural tendency of human younglings, as well as to stay in the protective umbrella of their parents. And that is what the unique privilege of parents are. And so when you have that, how do you then leverage that for seventh generation warfare? Well, you're demonstrating to them the value of family by being valuable to them. And so then as they get older, you can steer them into becoming a family person themselves, either a father or a mother, and you can steer them into thinking multi-generationally and fighting a seventh generation warfare, even if they call it something else. And you can get them to focus on not living the mistakes that were lived by your ancestors. You can get them to focus on sharing the values that make up your family's values. You can focus them to pass those on. Really, the whole seventh generation war is much easierly fought if you do not give up your unique privilege as a parent. And it starts with peaceful parenting. It starts with being valuable to your children. It starts as being wise, logical, and an influencer on them. And it really comes down to staying connected with who they are and caring for who they are. So that was a quick look into our unique privilege as parents. I hope that you enjoy parenting as much as I do, and that your little ones are not getting the best of you. Until the next time, this is 7th Generation Warfare. I'm your current host, John Nelson. Have a good night.